Hola, buenos días. Bienvenidos a su programa Holyhealth, aquí por Radio13 Digital. Estoy hoy muy emocionada porque es la segunda vez que entrevisto a este gran hipnólogo, uno de los hipnólogos más importantes del mundo. Yo he trabajado mucho con sus meditaciones y esta entrevista va a ser en inglés, pero bueno, ahí tenemos los subtítulos para que todos lo podamos entender. Así que le voy a dar la bienvenida y lo vamos a entrevistar. Hoy vamos a hablar de la ley de atracción. Glenn, how are you? Welcome to Holyhealth program. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm in Portugal at the moment, in Lagos. That's where I live. We moved here a year ago, and it's good. You know, it's we're still on lockdown like everyone is, but yeah, the sun's shining. We've got a nice garden. We've got a golf course over there, so we get out for walks every day. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Amazing. You're around nature.
Yeah, we are. And the weekend, because we haven't lived here too long, I went on a bike ride and I went at the end of our estate and carried on, found a little alleyway, went down to this alleyway. I was right on the cliffs, on the cliff tops.
Wow.
And high up, really high up. So I was standing there looking over the cliffs and it was magical, you know, doing this little meditation. It was beautiful. So yeah, I feel lucky to be in the place I'm at.
Well, that's a blessing. Amazing, Glenn. So yeah. I'm going to present you a little bit with our people that it's hearing the program. And of course, one more time, I'm very excited to have you here and have this chat with you. And well, Glenn has had more than 20 years of experience, and he's one of the best hypnotherapists worldwide. And he has created a lot of meditations. You told me last time that you have more than 120 meditations.
Yeah.
And of course, your work has helped a lot of people in their healing path. And we decide, you and I, as we talked before, we decide to talk about the law of attraction. You have an amazing and deeply relaxing law of attraction meditation, hypnosis, that, as you said, can help us to project our goals. So if you want to talk a little bit of you, and then we start to talk about the law of attraction, because I know you have, this is your expertise.
Yeah, well, it kind of links in very well because, you know, when I was young, I really struggled a lot. You know, I grew up in a very dysfunctional household and I was, you know, kind of a bit of a wild kid. I hung around in gangs on the street and got kicked out of school early, was into drugs and drink heavily. So naturally, when I reached adulthood, I didn't really set the world on fire because I had all this negative conditioning from my childhood. And it was only years later that when I learned about hypnotherapy, and I'd learned to play the guitar. That was the one good thing I'd learned to do from my childhood. So I was playing a guitar in a club one night and we shared the bill with the stage hypnotist and I saw this guy hypnotizing the audience and it was like an epiphany, you know, it sparked my interest in it. I thought, oh, wow, that is so powerful. And I didn't want to do the stage thing, but I was drawn to it for the healing side of it. You know, so from there I studied hypnotherapy in London for 2 years and then you know, all the time I was healing myself and clearing and really working hard to change my life because, you know, life had been such a failure up to that point. You know, it was such a struggle. And so hypnotherapy gave me the opportunity to clear a lot of the dysfunction and the childhood patterns that were holding me back and a lot of the failure programming. So from there, I started to, you know, then clear all this and then start to list all the goals, all the things that I wanted to achieve in life, you know, and I was a young man at that time and I was broke and so I wanted to have a big house. I wanted to have a house in Florida, an Aston Martin, all these material goals.
Yeah.
And I used to use, and then I got into the law of attraction. So I used the law of attraction to project out all of these goals and I visualized it. I visualized myself driving the Aston Martin, feeling the steering wheel, feeling the roar of the engine, really immersing myself in it. And you know, over time, all of those things happened. from the visualization, I materialized all those things. And so I was really in it. I was immersed in it, and I wanted it so much. I was hungry for it. And I always say that if you want to build a fit, good physique, then you exercise 5 times a week. You work out regularly.
Exactly.
And over time, your body gets toned, you get fit and healthy. And the mind is the same. And so is the law of attraction. You know, if you do want to manifest these things in your life, you have to put in the effort and, you know, do the work. And so for me, that was it. You know, I used to meditate every day on these goals and project them out there into the universe and believe it, they were a reality. That was the thing. And it was that work that I did that brought them to me and brought opportunities towards me as well that took me closer to them.
Wow.
So that's the secret. Just you put the work in and it happens.
Yes, and you do it like, as you said, as the exercise, you do it every day, and you feel it, no? The difference, because you know the difference. You remember this movie about The Secret? It's a little bit more deep, no? We're talking a little bit more deep than that. No?
Yeah. The Secret was a great film, you know, because it came along at the right time, and it was a simple explanation of the law of attraction and how it can work, and it got a lot of people into it, and it empowered a lot of people. I think the only thing I'd say that was missing from that film was that, you know, in my experience, a lot of people have failure programs running and sabotage patterns.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's a big thing, you know, and I had a lot of that going on, a huge amount, you know. And to give you an example of that, you know, I was in a therapy session one day and I spontaneously regressed back to being a young kid. You know, I was about 5 and remembering my parents having a blazing row about money, this full-on argument about money, and my dad was ripping it up and they were screaming at each other, you know, and I was only about 5. So that is, you know, it's a powerful program, you know, that was in my mind, in my unconscious mind, that was running. And it was only during the therapy session that it came up. So I was able to release it and let go of that memory and all the emotions and conditioning around it and let it go. So it almost then gave me like a clear slate. You know, and that's the thing. So that's a good way of looking at it, because when you clear those things, they're not holding you back anymore. They're not running in the background.
Exactly.
So you suddenly have an opportunity and you sabotage it. You blow it up. You do something stupid because you've got this fear of money or fear of success.
Exactly.
And you don't even know it's running. But that's the way the mind works. So it's so important to do that clearing work along with the affirming and the abundance work, because they really work hand in hand. So
yes,
that's kind of what I teach.
Yes, because, well, as we know, at 5, at the age of 5 through 7, at that age, we learn by hypnosis.
Yeah.
So when you see, of course, this behavior of your parents, no? So you make it in your belief system.
Yeah.
So it transforms in your belief system.
It's like
so
a
that's
program.
why it's a program. Yeah. So and it runs automatically. So exactly as you said, we have to clean before, but also when we are working on cleaning that patterns, we can connect to the things we want.
Yeah.
No? It works like that. Yes?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, when you do that clearing work, and, you know, you're also, you know, it's a holistic journey. You know, for me, it was always that, you know, so it was about, you know, when I got on that path, I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, I didn't take drugs anymore. And I've been 30 years clean of those things, you know, so I got on that path and little by little, I got healthier, I got fitter, and, you know, and I raised my vibration, my energy became lighter, and I got clearer. And I think that's another factor. So when your energy's clear, you are a cleaner vessel for manifesting. You know, you're clearer, so your projections are more powerful because there's no nothing incongruent. You know, everything's in alignment. It's all in alignment. So when you project out, it's clear, and it's amazing. You know, the universe responds to you, you know, very straightforward. It's very straightforward. So that's another part of it. You know, it's not just about the affirmations and projections. It's all about, you know, clearing and getting clean and fitter and healthier and more positive in your mindset, all of those things. I'm actually working on a course at the moment, and I'm probably going to call it Sacred Abundance.
Wow, wow.
And it's a 10-day course, and it goes through all of these things that I'm talking about. So one day is about clearing and getting rid of blocks and sabotage patterns. And then towards the end, it's more about the projections and the goal setting and all that kind of thing. So it's the whole thing. And I'm enjoying making it. It's going to be a good course.
You know, the most important thing is you live that. So you live that change, you experience that change.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most important thing, because you know how you, all your biological system, you know, or your belief system change during that time.
Yeah.
And I know
you raise your energy, your vibration changes.
Exactly. You have to have a congruence, as you said, you know, have a healthy life, expand your consciousness, and what are you listening to? What are you looking at? No?
Yeah.
What are you, everything. It's important to elevate your vibration.
What you watch, what you read, what you think, you know, all of those things affect your vibration. So it's so important. You know, and I've got the contrast from when I was young and when I was hanging around with other kids who were dysfunctional, and we were taking drugs, you know, hard drugs, you know, acid and heroin. I took that a few times, and, you know, so I know what it's like to have a very low vibration, you know, heavy energy where you're stuck and you feel like, I can remember having that feeling of like, it was like wading through treacle. I felt like I had diver's boots on. You know, it was so, life was so hard. It was such a struggle, but it was just simply because I had this low vibration, this low energy. And, you know, now I'm the opposite. I've got this high energy, high vibration, and life flows so much easier. So I've got the contrast of experiencing the two. And, you know, it frightens me the thought of ever going back to that. Not that I ever would, but.
No, yes, that's what we have to change and work on that every day, no? And every time.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm right. Did you use on this meditation of the law of attraction? I read that you used one of the solfeggio scale, the third one, 528.
Yeah, on the law of attraction recording.
Yeah.
I might have done. Yeah, I can't. I probably recorded it 5 or 6 years ago. So but yeah, possibly, because you know, the heart center is a good place to project from. You know, opening the heart. You know, I normally, when I do that kind of work, I would encourage the listener to open their heart. You know, focus on your heart energy and expand a feeling of love. And then I think on that recording, I project from the third eye. I think, you know, project your goal out from the third eye. And, you know, the thing is to be really clear as well about what you want. Because that's the other thing, you know, it's not, because if you just say, I want to have money, I want to have lots of money, you know, you can come into money by having an accident or inheriting it from someone you love. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So it's clear about, it's good to be clear that money comes to you for your highest good and for the highest good of everyone around. So it's really, so to be clear about what you're projecting out. So, you know, for me, when I got into this work, I used to list my goals. You know, I'd have a list of goals that I wanted to achieve, and it would, you know, it would be about, you know, achieving those material goals and the career goals and that kind of thing, but, you know, from a good place, from a heart-centered place.
Yeah.
So it was good for myself and it was good for everyone around. Exactly. And it also for my soul, on my soul's journey, you know, I took the right path. You know, it was that thing, you know, because it's easy, you know, especially when you do start to become successful, you get a lot of opportunities come to you naturally. You don't have to try for them. You don't have to go out there and try and sell yourself so much. Things come to you. So, you know, you have to then be quite discerning and make sure that you make the right choices.
Yes.
And you choose the right paths, you know. And sometimes, you know, I look back at my career and I've had opportunities that have come along that have all seemed very glamorous and glitzy, but when I got into them, it wasn't right. You know, I got a major publishing deal. When was it? What are we now? It was about 2007. A major publishing deal where I had Warner Brothers and Orion, the two biggest publishers in Europe. They were at the time, and they were bidding for me. They were in a bidding war, and I got so lucky. The timing was right, everything, and I signed with a major publisher. I signed with Orion in the end, but I wanted to take my career in a kind of a more spiritual, law of attraction, you know, higher consciousness direction. But they didn't want that. They saw me as like a mainstream,
of course,
kind of, and it wasn't for me. And so I was at odds with this direction. And because they'd signed me up and they'd invested a lot in me, I didn't have any say in it. So that was it was a difficult thing because it was a great offer from a big publisher.
Of course.
But sometimes those things come along and they're not always the right path. Exactly. So you've got to be. So now I've learned from those experiences, and I'm much more discerning as to what I choose. You know, and because it's somebody said, you know, that the brighter you shine, the more vulnerable you can be in some ways.
Of course.
Because people are attracted to light, and you know you can get dark forces that are attracted to the light as well, you know. So you have to protect yourself.
Exactly, and you have to focus every day on what you want, because when the success came, you know, when you are successful, you became to start to be very successful. You know, we have this ego. So the ego will maybe the line is very, very thin. No, to say, oh yes, I was looking for this. No, I was looking for this rock star chance. No, maybe I could be a rock star. But that's exactly what you are saying. To be
definitely
focused.
You know, when I first kind of got the breaks and really took off, and you know, and I remember at that time I had like a full-size cardboard cutout in the major stores in England. You know, my friends, I didn't actually get to see them. My friends told me they saw full-size cutouts, and you know, I was on TV shows and in big interviews and all that, and it's all a bit exciting. You know, I was going to like A-list parties and all that, and it's all very glamorous. And you know, and for a couple of years, I did get a little bit lost in that. You know, because your ego gets fluffed up. You know, I was this kid who got kicked out of school with no qualifications, and suddenly here I am, sort of fancy parts, you know, and then all la-di-da, and you know, I'm thinking I'm the bee's knees all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I had a really interesting experience at that time, because I had an ayahuasca ceremony. I might have told you last interview.
Yeah, you told me.
I experienced ayahuasca, and one of the things at that time I saw, the ayahuasca, the medicine showed me, and a picture of myself, and I was like this Hollywood version of myself with white teeth. And I remember smiling, and it went ping, and I was all I'm standing in front of my big house, fancy Aston Martin, and it was showing me this sort of fake version of myself. It felt fake.
Wow.
And I was arguing with myself, saying, I'm not like that. That's not me. And I was having this, and it was the medicine showing me, and I was really freaked out by it, because I thought, well, I'm not like that. I'm not, you know, and it was quite scary. But what it was showing me was that if I didn't make the right choices, that's how I could end up.
Exactly.
It's this, you know, it's this fake sort of showbiz type. So God, I mean, that blew my mind, because it showed me how incredibly intelligent ayahuasca is. To bring those things up and show me those things. It was amazing.
And you tried the ayahuasca just once?
No, at that time I experienced about or 5 sessions, and they were with a guy called Ali Calderwood, who I made the solfeggio meditations with.
Oh, yeah.
I was, we had a real good connection at the time, and it was through, I heard he did these ayahuasca ceremonies, and I liked him, trusted him, because I was going to go to Peru to experience it in the jungle. You know, I was so drawn to it.
Yeah.
But then he kind of sort of came into my life and said that he was doing sessions at his home, and I went down there, and he spent 2 years out with the shaman in Peru, and so he understood it. He knew, he sung all the Icaros, and he also wrote music for the ceremonies.
Wow.
And his music was so powerful. It was incredible. He's an amazing musician. And so the first ever ceremony I did with him was like unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like it on this planet since I've been alive. It was amazing. And the sessions after were never quite matched that first one. I think I did a lot of clearing, because what happens is, you know, when you experience the ceremonies, you get to a point where the shadow stuff comes up in you, the shadow energy, and I literally, you know, you purge it, you vomit it, you physically vomit it.
Yeah.
But it's very cathartic, you know, you're literally sicking out the darkness within you. And
Very
it
hard.
was incredible. Yeah, and it seems now it's become a very commercial thing, because I did one in Marbella in Spain last year. And it was a big house, you know, lovely mansion on the beach, and there was about 20 or 30 people there. And it wasn't so good. The medicine didn't feel very good to me, and it was a commercial setup, and so that wasn't so good, you know. But I'm still drawn to it now. You know, when the time's right, and I find the right place to go, I'll experience it again, because it felt to me like about 20 therapy sessions in one go. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
So I do recommend it if you feel drawn to it, if you feel calling. It's not for the faint-hearted, because you know, it's hallucinogenic and you actually lose your mind. You literally are out of your mind, and you don't know where you are at times, so you're out of control.
It's amazing. I've tried 4 times.
Have you?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I really love the sacred
In
medicine.
Mexico?
In Mexico, yes. 4 times in Mexico, and for me was also the first time, not too much, but the third time, a lot of information, but I don't know, I felt that my body was going to broke, and then I realized, and I said, Alejandra, they're giving you information, just flow, expand yourself, because I think I was like this, you know, and they were giving me information, but a lot of information, a lot of images, amazing.
And you've got to come out of the mind. You've got to flow with it, haven't you? And trust that you're on the right journey with it, and let go. You know,
exactly.
Sometimes we try to cling to what we know, don't we? Where we feel safe.
Yes, we want to control. We want to control it. And so when I realized, I said, Alejandra, expand yourself, and that's the only way you are going to receive this information in peace. Because it was like electroshocks. A lot of images, all of them very good, thanks God. But the other experience were tough, like, you know, cleansing, a tough cleansing.
Did you purge at the time?
Yeah. In that one, no, but in the other, the second and the fourth, too much. But as we know, maybe you are purging a disease. It's all good.
The sickness within you, shadow stuff, past life stuff. You know, it's good. Yeah.
Well, your experience, Glenn, thank you for sharing. It's amazing. And can you give us, of course, for me, the first advice for the people is that to listen to your meditation. If they can, every day before bedtime, it's better, because at the end at this session you give a sleep ending, no? So you relax a lot and you can sleep very well.
Some of the recordings have sleep endings, and some have awakenings, so they tend to be for the daytime, and the sleep endings for nighttime. So I've got a number of free recordings on YouTube that I put up. A lot of the recordings I put on YouTube are only 10 minutes long, because in the early days when I put them up, that was the limit. They could only be 10 minutes.
Okay.
Obviously now. So look for the ones that are longer than that, you know, sort of, most of the recent ones I've done are much longer. I recently put up one called the 396 Hertz Solfeggio meditation.
Yes.
And that one is a really good one for dispelling fear and anxiety. So it's really good for this time where a lot of people are frightened and anxious. And it's one that I made with Ali, who did the ayahuasca ceremonies.
Oh, wow.
So he's a musician, and we talked about the solfeggio tones, and we said, should we make a series based on each tone? So there's 6 frequencies, and Gregorian monks used to chant those exact frequencies to dispel certain things. So, for example, the 396 Hertz solfeggio meditation, they chant to dispel fear and guilt.
Yes.
Big things, and that's the one. That's the very one.
I love it. I love it. You know, I give it. As you know, I work with all the time, since I've been working with them like 5 years ago, as I told you.
Right.
But I also like to, for example, yesterday I gave the yoga class, the free one, and I use this frequency.
Fantastic.
And you can put it loop.
So when they're doing yoga, you said it's a loop. Yeah. When they're doing yoga, they're listening to that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I put the loop and I give the class.
Wow, that's great. I've got a 3-hour one on YouTube. I did a remix of it and put a 3-hour version up there.
Exactly. A friend told me that one is 3 hours.
Yeah, and I put it up. So what it is, it's about 40 minutes of the main meditation, and then I kind of put the affirmations on afterwards, and I put a big reverb on them, so it sounds very trippy and dreamy.
Wow.
And so you can really sleep, you know, most of the night with that one. I'll put it on loop, and so that's it's kind of a nice one for today, because people are very fearful at the moment, so it's perfect for this time.
No, this friend told me that he found that one for 3 hours, and he's sleeping amazing. He told me that.
Oh wow.
Using it for bedtime, before bedtime. And Glenn, can you give us let's make a little resume. Can you give us advice to practice this law of attraction, to get the best of this law, you know, and help us to a few things that you can tell us to practice every day?
Yeah, so I think the key is, the most important thing is to really be crystal clear about what you want to achieve.
Okay.
Because you're working with a universal energy that is going to project back to you exactly what you put out there. You know, and it's how, you know, I kind of, it's not about, you know, how good you are or how anything. It's about being really clear about what you want. That's what's going to come back to you. Because I knew someone who told me that he became very rich. He got a lot of money, and but he was quite mean. He was quite tight.
Okay.
You know, he wasn't very generous. He was one of those, you know, all for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me wonder, I thought, well, how did he get rich if he's got that attitude? It didn't kind of gel with me. But when I spoke to him one day, he said that when he was a young kid, he used to imagine him having a big house and a car and all those things.
Uh-huh.
So even though he wasn't, you know, the sort of nicest of people, he still used the law of attraction.
Of course.
And it unemotionally delivered back to him what he visualized from a young age. You know, and it's so you've got to think of it like that. You know, that whatever you put out there, it's not that it's going to reward you in any way. It's just clear, you know, that if you put a really positive goal out there and you put a lot of energy into it, that's what's going to come back. So that's why it's important to write down a list of goals that you want to achieve. So, you know, I'd have a list of material goals, for example, when I started, and it would be, like I said, you know, it'd be an Aston Martin, a house in Florida, $1 million house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd have other goals. You know, I'd have goals where, you know, I wanted to learn to be a better guitarist, or I wanted to learn to speak Spanish, or, you know, I still haven't got that one, but we're in Portugal. We're in Portugal now, so that's kind of gone a bit. But yeah, so be crystal clear about your goals. Write them down and affirm them every day. You know, I used to be, when I was in the bath, you know, because I heard somebody told me that when you're in water, the projections are stronger. So I used to be in my bath, you just have my nose out the water and I'd be projecting out these goals and affirmations.
Nice.
And,
Okay.
so, yeah, every part of time, you know, when I was driving my car, you know, I'd turn the radio off and I'd be doing affirmations and mantras over and over again. So my whole life was geared up towards these goals that I wanted to achieve. And, you know, the key part is once you're crystal clear about it and you know what you want to achieve,
Okay.
then use meditation, use self-hypnosis every day. And I'll send you my free guide to self-hypnosis so people can learn that technique, go into that state of self-hypnosis. And then when they're in there, when their mind's quiet and they're physically relaxed, project your goals out, you know, and imagine them coming out with feeling from your heart. You know, project out your, you know, if it's your career and you want to have a lot of clients, for example, you know, feel that you're going to attract the right clients towards you who you're going to help, you know, and feel it. And so it's coming from a place of love. And, you know, imagine that and see yourself, you know, working with clients, helping them, healing them. Be really creative with what you're projecting out there. And, you know, and imagine that you're making good money from it. You're becoming really abundant from it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of creating this whole picture in your mind, the story and the, you know, the picture of your clients and the success you're having with it. And that whole story you're putting out there with love, you know, really infuse those visualizations with feeling. And, you know, if you do that every day, you know, even if you only did it for 10 or 15 minutes, things will change for you. I promise you, your life will start to become much more abundant. And, you know, for me, it was amazing how I met the right people at the right time. And I was resonating with this abundance frequency and all of these opportunities started coming towards me. And the thing that I was good at back then was that I would take every opportunity that came. You know, I never missed an opportunity. I'm still kind of hardwired like that. You know, my wife sometimes says to me, "You work like you're broke sometimes," because I still love taking opportunities as they come.
Yeah, but you love your work.
You know, I love my work. I love it, you know, because I get people every day telling me how they're being helped with the recordings. So I feel so blessed to be doing this work and I want to make the most of it. Yeah, just yesterday, somebody told me, they actually emailed me on, it was on Instagram, this guy, he's quite a well-known model, and he said to me that, for 5 years, he said, he's been listening to my recordings and they changed his life. And it was actually Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan got recommended them to him.
Oh, great.
So, you know, I've got this, you know, and I said, wow, that's amazing. You know, that I knew she liked them because she tweeted about them, but for her to be recommending them, you know, it was amazing. And he told me that yesterday, so I was really chuffed. So yeah, the law of attraction, it works.
No, believe me, you have changed a lot of people with your work. I know that. I know. You have helped me. For my experience, you have helped me a lot. And well, one more time, Glenn, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all you share with us, for your perspective, and you have given us more clarity, really, because sometimes this law of attraction, as you said, we can use it from another side.
Yeah.
And we are going to attract everything we think or we act.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
We are going to attract everything. So we have to be careful. No? It's
Yeah.
better to focus on our goals and, as you said, to drive them and to be very clear about that.
And be clean and be mindful of what you watch, what you read, and,
exactly.
You know, all of those things, you know. And I've got actually a book on, it's not on, it's kind of uses the law of attraction with hypnosis. It's called The Answer.
Okay.
The Answer. And I think it's available on Kindle and all that. It was the The Answer.
The Answer, okay.
Yeah, and it's got a recording with it. So yeah, if you get the book, it's got the recording with it. And so that's a good book to really, talk you through the whole law of attraction thing and how to use it with hypnosis.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Supercharge it. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Glenn, if you want to add something else.
Yeah. Well, I'm tomorrow around this time, so 5 p.m. tomorrow, London time. I'm doing a webinar.
Oh,
it's the first one I've done. I've never done them before.
Oh.
So I'm going to be doing this webinar tomorrow for 1 hour at 5 p.m. London time. And I'm going to take questions and answers on Zoom. It will be on Zoom. So the link will be on my Facebook fan page. And,
perfect.
And I'll put it on Instagram and Twitter, and LinkedIn. And so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do a little talk like I'm doing now. And then I'm going to do a meditation at the end of it based on the feedback I get.
Wow.
So people will tell me what they want and I'll do a little meditation at the end of that. And I've never done it before. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. A bit nervous, but looking forward to it. And I'll do the meditation before to get me in the zone.
Yeah. No, it will be great. And of course, I'm going to be there.
What time will it be for you? 5 o'clock. That'll be
5 o'clock, 11.
Oh, 11.
11. It will be 11 o'clock here in Mexico. So it's a great time. Perfect moment.
So it's 20 to 1 there now, is it?
Yeah.
20 to 1. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that'll be perfect then, 11.
Perfect time. Okay.
Yeah.
We're at home, so it will be perfect to hear you.
I tried to do it at a time that would suit people,
Exactly.
in most English-speaking parts of the world. California, I think it's 9 o'clock. Australia, it's 2 o'clock in the morning on the Sydney side. But people have said, they're going to set their alarms and get up. So,
wow.
Bless. Yeah.
Well, Glenn, all the best. It's going to be amazing, I know. And Glenn, thank you very much. And I'm going to...
It's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.
No, thank you. Pues muchísimas gracias. De verdad, para mí ha sido un placer y una gran oportunidad estar platicando con Glenn. Ya ven todos los consejos que nos dio. Y bueno, pues aquí síganos como todos los martes a las 9 de la mañana en Holyhealth, dándoles y ofreciéndoles pues todas las herramientas para que puedan conectar con todo su potencial. Muchísimas gracias. Manténganse en su casa, manténganse sanos y ya saben, estén pendientes de qué es lo que ven, qué es lo que escuchan, qué es lo que hablan y con quién comparten pues, su comunicación, su vida y su energía. Gracias.